Celebrating 30 years of broadcast history on the South Shore. 95.9 WATD FM Marshfield. Streaming 24/7 at 959watd.com.
Welcome to the Natural Health and Healing Show with one of New England's leading nutritionists, Mark Mincola. The show is brought to you by the Good Health Stores in Hanover and Quincy. Call Mark at 781-837-4900 with your health and nutrition questions. Now, here's Mark.
Good evening and welcome. I trust everyone is resting easily at home this lovely Sunday evening. And we have a great program scheduled for you. Of course, someone who is not a stranger to this particular broadcast, Ann Doggett, Dr. Ann Doggett. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Mark.
Great to have you as always. Tell us a little bit about March 19th.
We are hosting a second event to focus on female health issues. And so we've dedicated 2 evenings because we find that with women and their busy schedules, they're not always available when you are hosting an event.
Right.
So we have March 19th and also April 2nd to present some of the issues unique to women, very common to women, on health, and with particular emphasis on nutrition as women change from birth through menopause.
Fantastic. For those out there in the listening audience that may not be familiar with Dr. Ann's work, Dr. Ann, of course, is the founder of Whole Body Solutions, Nutrition, Chiropractic, Acupuncture, and they are stationed at 605 Hancock Street in Quincy. And they specialize, of course, in holistic health care for families, chiropractic care for infants and children, toxicity elimination programs for both children and adults, and really specializing a great deal in both women's, children's, and families with regards to holistic health care. So it's, of course, very special to have you in here. Each time you've been in, we've learned a great deal about not only your practice, but we've learned a lot about specific areas of focus to your practice, and women's health certainly is one of those focuses.
We love to help anybody who comes through our doors, but women hold such an important place in terms of society and the community and the rearing of the next generation.
Absolutely. And in terms of what women might look forward to regarding the 19th event, the 19th of March event and the 2nd of April event, what kind of, what specific things might they look for those events?
Well, we talk about health as being given to us at birth as our potential right. And as we are introduced to life, we have stress on many levels. You have physical stress, chemical stress, and emotional stress. And each of which can put the dimmer switch on us in terms of bringing down our life force that we're born with. And so we're going to talk about specifically on the physical front, things that chiropractic can help with, and some of the symptoms that might let you know that you've got some physical stress on the nervous system. And we're going to talk about nutrition stress, and that can be anything from your deficiencies in the diet to toxicity, and specifically as it relates to the hormones, the balance of the hormones, the dominance of estrogen in the body, and risk factors for any estrogen-dominant illness, including breast cancer. We have a system that allows us to look at stress on the body chemically. And that could be something like a pesticide or a heavy metal from exposure from many different sources. So we'll explore those things that can prevent somebody's ability to heal up, even on a good nutrition program. And then we'll touch a bit on the emotional stress. Could be just the stress of working and raising a family. Could be stress from some past history of mistreatment. We were just looking up some statistics before we came in here, and found with much sadness that over 31% of American females have experienced abuse in their lifetime.
Oh, my Lord, that's incredible.
And so I think in the previous show they were talking about cellular memory, and we carry on this cellular memory, and we have found that now 92% of American women experience symptoms before their menstrual cycle, and we are beginning to believe that that is normal. And in fact, it's not normal. It's common.
We've come to accept it.
Hey, I have to sign a note for my daughter's school saying that if she experiences menstrual cramps, it's okay to give her Tylenol or Advil. That's how common it is. So we'd like to increase the awareness for the female population around some of the choices that we can make that can empower us to not fall prey to these very life-altering symptoms that are common.
So is this going to be more of a lecture, more of a seminar, more interactive? Are there going to be demonstrations? Will people be able to not just learn this magnificent information, but will they be able to kind of get involved and partake in this experience?
What we found is works best is that we do a little of both. We will do a PowerPoint presentation and help to educate and to orient to the severity of this issue for women and some of the root causes and understanding the hormones. We will also have a little humor in there, so we have some fun on the lecture part. The workshop is 2 hours, so we'll break after about 45 minutes of lecture, and then we'll show people how you get tested up and how we develop a program that's unique for the individual.
And once again, those of you who have just tuned in, we're speaking with Dr. Ann Doggett, of course, who has been on the program over the years a number of times. And she has 2 upcoming encore presentations at the Holiday Inn in Randolph, one March 19th, and the following presentation will be April 2nd, and those will be at 7 p.m. And the focus of these and the title of both of these will be Women's Health Solutions to Challenges. And obviously these will be unique to women in this sense. As you point out, there's a number of different specific areas. You mentioned one a moment ago about the astounding statistic of the number, what was it, 37%?
Over 31% of American females have experienced some physical and or sexual abuse in their lifetime.
That's remarkable. And the fact that, as you point out, these abuses that they've experienced continue to express themselves through nerve memory and continue to suppress immunity. I just saw a study from HeartMath out in Boulder, Colorado not too long ago, and they've actually broken down and discovered that for every 5 minutes of a negative emotion, it equals 6 hours of immunosuppression.
It's remarkable.
So when I think about, over 31% of the female population having been abused, as you point out, and holding on to that negative cellular memory, muscle memory, nerve memory, even when you're not conscious, this stuff is all stored in the subconscious. So these are just powerful triggers for disease.
And these statistics do not include verbal abuse issues, which is, we talk about negative energy and
Absolutely.
negative emotion, and many women are not even aware when these things are taking place. So,
well, and I think to your point, I think that as a culture, with a lot of the neuroplasticity research that's been going on, etc., we are just beginning as a culture now to appreciate the power of words, plus and minus, and the power of the mind at creating images around words that profoundly affect immunity. We're going to take a short little break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you a question about so many increasing numbers of cancers, etc., that are hormonal. I'm going to talk about that when we come back from this break. Stay tuned. Right in our area, we are fortunate to have one of the top martial arts schools in the country, Personal Best Karate. Personal Best has been recognized for their community involvement, professional staff development, character building programs, and exciting educational curriculum. Personal Best stands at the top of their industry. 5 locations offering personalized professional instruction. Not sure if karate is right for you? At no obligation, the staff at Personal Best will guide you in a private introductory program to see if karate is indeed the right fit to help you achieve your goals and meet your needs. What does karate at Personal Best teach you? Character building, success habits, helps you get in shape, relieve stress, self-control, setting goals, and, of course, self-defense. Personal Best's goal is to create successful, contributing members of society through the practice of the martial arts at Personal Best. Mr. Chris Rappold is, of course, the founder of Personal Best Karate. He tells me his greatest joy of all is to see the personal transformation in each and every student. Bring out your best with Personal Best Karate. Telephone number 508-285-5425. That's 508-285-5425. Locations in Norton, Foxborough, Southeaston, Franklin, and Taunton. That's Personal Best Karate. This segment is being sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods. Good Health is a well-established organic specialty food market as well as a vitamin and sports nutrition shop. Good Health is a family-owned business passionately committed to giving back to the neighborhoods of Boston and the South Shore. The Maturos and the entire Good Health family continue to make an indelible impact on the communities they serve. There are currently 2 extraordinary stores, 1627 Hancock Street, Quincy, Mass., and 219 Columbia Road, Route 53 in Hanover, Mass. For everything natural, organic, and wheat or gluten-free, it's Good Health Natural Foods, open 7 days a week. In Quincy, 617-773-4925. In Hanover, 781-826-0808. That's Good Health Natural Foods. Alrighty, welcome back in. And of course, we've been chatting with Dr. Ann Doggett from Whole Body Solutions on Hancock Street in Quincy. And she has an upcoming event, or 2 actually to be exact. One is going to be March 19th. The other one will be April 2nd, 7 p.m. Holiday Inn, Randolph. And specific focus, women's health, solutions to challenges unique to women. And obviously there are many of those challenges that so many women are facing these days. Now, one thing in particular I'm really fascinated, I have my thoughts about it, but I'd love to hear you reflect on why you feel, and not just for women, I guess, but certainly prostate cancer is on the rise, and so many uterine cancers, and so many problems with male and female hormonal systems. Certainly in the course of the last 20 years have just skyrocketed. Why is that happening? What do you think?
I think it's a combination of physical, chemical, emotional stress as they all play out on the body. Specifically on the chemical front, the increased use of pesticides and chemicals. And I used to give lectures. I've been in practice for 19 years now, and we'd give lectures about toxicity. And 10 years ago, the figures were such that you could fill a semi-liner truck that went across from California across the state with the number of man-made chemicals that we have. So things like paints and formaldehyde and preservatives and pesticides in particular.
Yep.
And then you have the hormone additives to our meat and dairy industry, so that the industry can have greater yield of product. That would be size of the animal. So you have those very direct effects. We have increased the stress in our lifestyle in terms of less rest. We have more processed foods. We have a decline in the essential fats, which is an issue in and of itself that's going to affect immunity and hormones directly.
Right.
I was looking recently at the vitamin D issue and direct links of D deficiency to both prostate and breast cancer. So, that may be
strong corollary there, too. Well, I remember in 1995 when I finished my second book, The Tao of Qi, that the statistics that stick with me from that book were that I found that we were being told by experts that the average American takes in 10 pounds of pesticides per year, 14 pounds of food additives. That's an awful lot of toxicity. I'm really talking about two possibilities there. So it's pretty amazing, realistically, that our hormones and that our bodies compensate and adapt and press on as powerfully as they do and as consistently as they do, as many years as they do.
How many pounds of sugar?
Oh, I think right now we're at 150, aren't we?
That's the other thing. We're going to give a quiz at our seminar, Are You a Sugar Addict?
Yep.
And 120 questions that you honestly answer to look at your addiction to food, which could potentially be labeled as a drug if we looked at its physiologic effects in the body.
Well, and how about this one, too? At the turn of the century, just 100 years ago, the average American consumed 9 pounds of sugar. So now we've gone from 9 to 150 per person per year. So it's pretty scary stuff. And, I think most people are aware of the fact that a lot of these issues are sort of, I guess I'd say, overlapping issues. For example, we talk about sugar, and, you and I are familiar with what happens when people eat this processed sugar in such high concentrations. Of course, there's a great deal of fat storing that takes place through the process of anaerobic glycolysis. So the liver basically says, look, we're going to use whatever energy we can from this carbohydrate called sugar. Whatever we don't use, well, we'll just store it as fat. And, there's a great piece that one of Barry Sears, one of his associates actually did a thesis on sugar and how much energy we store. He said the average 50-year-old is storing the equivalency of 26,000 pancakes. So we think we're just burning that sugar energy off, but we're storing, and storing it as fat. And of course, hormones really have everything to do, and they're so profoundly correlative and dependent upon the type of fatty acids that we process digestively. So there's a direct corollary with those sugars and those hormones as well. So what about, there's going to be a lot of women who are thinking about coming or are already scheduled to come on the 19th of March and the 2nd of April that are concerned about their young daughters, concerned about their families. Children, of course, nowadays have this incredible dilemma of being, I guess I'd say brainwashed is probably a good word when it comes to food choices. The entire culture, the entire subculture that they're involved with is essentially blindsided when it comes to the importance of good nutrition. How are you going to tackle that one?
Well, I can tell you firsthand as a parent of 2 children that sometimes I'm received as potentially out of my mind for, even suggesting that my children not consume sugar.
Right. Food Nazi.
Yeah, I am a food Nazi, exactly. And, that one of my pet peeves is that in my son's school...
You're not a food Nazi.
In my son's school, nuts are not allowed, so there's a good healthy protein, good essential fat, but there's lots of...
The chocolate chips are allowed.
Pudding parfaits, so... First of all, we have to educate the moms, and we have to educate as many moms as possible so that your child can go to somebody else's house for a, scheduled playtime and find that they do have some choices. And I think we have to get moms healed up because moms and dads, whoever does the food shopping, needs to know, don't bring the stuff in the house because, in fact, it is like a drug. And if it's there, and particularly if we're a little low on energy for whatever reason, human nature is to want that food. So education is a piece of it. And we also want to heighten the awareness around the adolescent female issues, the deficiencies in the major minerals that are at least 85%, and this is statistics-based. 3 major minerals are deficient 85% of adolescent females, and essential fats. And
what are those 3 major minerals? Probably potassium, magnesium, calcium, or something like that?
It's actually calcium, zinc, and iron. And zinc, as you know, over 300 different reactions in the body and immune system and prostate health and testosterone processing.
And zinc and cadmium antagonize each other. And, normal ratios of zinc to cadmium are supposed to be 40-1. In the present American diet, it's 100-1 the opposite. So it's a 4,000% imbalance in terms of the amount of zinc we need to synergistically make ourselves available for. And where does cadmium come from? Sugar processing.
That's a good one. I didn't know, Mark. That's great. So the adolescent issues, the other statistic that we just learned is that 40% of girls age 14 to 17 know somebody their own age who has been hit or beaten by a boyfriend.
Oh, boy.
That's a 40% of 14 to 17-year-olds. So we have to increase awareness. We have to help moms heal up. We have to help families in terms of knowing the choices they're making and how they're affecting their own health, the health of their children, and, in fact, the future generations. Michael Schmidt is a chiropractor who's done a lot of work with nutrition, and he wrote a book called Smart Fats.
Mm-hmm.
And he says your adolescent female nutrition is actually going to influence her adult fertility, particularly in the area of fats. So we're talking future generations. We have a big job ahead of us.
Absolutely.
And we need to reinforce each other. It's easy to get pulled into what's happening in society everywhere you go.
No question about it.
We need to create more people who know.
So really there's going to be a real focus on educating and inspiring on these 2 evenings.
That's our goal.
Important part of the solutionizing response here. Now, you often talk about the 5 hidden causes of disease.
We do.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
So over the years of attempting to help patients and helping patients, we found that some people responded beautifully to what we thought would help them. Mm-hmm. And other people, we did what we thought was the exact right thing, and they didn't respond quite as beautifully.
Right.
So in trying to determine why that was, we came to a technique called nutrition response testing, and as part of the system, we look at things that, if present, will prevent the body from healing up. And within that category, we assess the presence of heavy metals, mm-hmm. Chemicals, food intolerances, we'll say, immune system challenges, and the presence of scars in the body. And as it relates to women in particular, C-section scars and episiotomy scars and their influence on the thyroid.
Well, and I think for so many people out there that are saying, wait a minute, I was with you with toxic metals and food allergies and immune problems and all that stuff. Yeah, that made sense, but no, can you run the scars by me one more time? Now, you're going to probably have to explain that just a little bit for folks.
This is always a challenge, and the best way that we explain it is to actually show on the body how the muscular neurological system is affected just by touching these scars. However, we do know that 80% of the sympathetic nerves are mm-hmm. found in the skin. So just from a neurological perspective alone, when you disrupt the fibers of the nerves in the skin, you can create imbalances in the nervous system, specifically the autonomic, or the part of the nervous system that's functioning without your conscious control. Mm-hmm. And the upset between the stress part of the nervous system, or the sympathetic, versus the rebuild and repair part of the nervous system, or the parasympathetic. Mm-hmm. And these scars very directly impact that. And then on a more abstract level for most people is the whole field of energy that is external to the body, that we can't see, that is electromagnetic, that can directly or indirectly relate to organ systems in the body. And the scars can affect those circuits as well.
In other words, like as with Chinese medicine, everybody knows that there is something called acupuncture. And the healing art of acupuncture is clearly based on the whole concept that the body has these unseen meridians or pathways all up and down the body that really determine and have a great deal to say about the flow of energy in and out of the vital organs. So these highway systems all up and down the body that are pretty much like nerve highways really obviously have a very, they're affected profoundly by scar tissue that perhaps interferes with the highway system and the flow of this energy is what it sounds like.
Correct.
And therefore, women who have C-sections, as you point out earlier, run the risk, at least based on the work that you've done here, and run the risk of having the thyroid meridian or the energy pathways that lead to the thyroid interfered with by the scarring from the C-section. So witness so many gals who, as they maybe hit their 40s and 50s and 60s, tend to have serious weight gain, energy problems, hormonal imbalances, and in many cases you would submit perhaps directly or indirectly correlated with scar tissue from C-sections that interferes with the nerve pathways to the thyroid.
Absolutely. And depression as well, because we know how important the thyroid gland is in regulating the hormones around mood. So many issues that we always say anything can cause anything.
Sure.
And the scars are not always, C-section scars are not always what we call active. They're not always neurologically in trouble. But if they are, and we find them, we find solutions to balance them.
So the burning question, of course, here, most folks at home are saying, okay, now once a scar tissue is in place, Dr. Ann, how can you solutionize around that? What are you going to do with that scar tissue? How are you going to how are you going to reroute that nerve traffic so we can get that woman some more thyroid energy again?
Well, at least 50% of the scars, and we're talking external now on the skin, at least 50% will respond to wheat germ oil, which is the natural source of vitamin E and all of its phytonutrients.
Incredible. That's great. And, of course, I've got to ask this question. Tattoos?
Same, if not more, difficulties. Neurologic disruption, energetic, potentially meridian disruption, and then you've got the dyes that can get into the body through the tattooing process.
Well, one of the things that comes to mind for me right now is an awful lot of folks get the tattoos, a lot of young people, especially nowadays, it's pretty fashionable to do it, but get their tattoos in an area like, the shoulder, for example, right around the large intestine meridian. So things like colon inconsistencies, things like constipation, things like irregularity, irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah, you bet. And I think that's a really important and a remarkably insightful fact that a lot of folks really need to hear more of. There's not enough information like that out there. So, one of the things I want to talk to you about too. We're going to wait till we come back from break here in a few seconds, but there's an awful lot of families out there over the past, maybe the past 20 years or so that have been deluged, absolutely deluged, and really destroyed by this mysterious new diagnostic reality in our world called ADD and ADHD. And so many children, of course, have been put on Ritalin, and so many families have been destroyed, not just by the condition that we call ADD and ADHD, but by many of the medications, such as Ritalin, that these children have been put on. And there are long-term ramifications that are rarely, if ever, discussed about these medications and these very questionable, if not reckless, solutions. And I know there's an awful lot of women out there, there's a lot of families out there that are profoundly affected by ADD, ADHD, and its treatment. And there are burning questions, for example, does it really exist? Is there really and truly a condition called ADD and ADHD? And so many professionals don't even accept the fact that it exists. And then you've got school systems, of course, out there that are getting involved in this passion play over this condition and this great controversy. And there are so many people across this great country right now that are truly troubled by it, feel like there have been very reckless diagnostic approaches and very poor solutions. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say about ADD, ADHD. Dr. Ann, it's been great to have you on. We'll be right back with Dr. Ann Doggett. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Catherine from Jaro Formulas. We're happy to announce our new partnership with Dr. Mark Mincola. When we started out in this industry, our intentions were to bring good quality nutrition, cutting-edge science, and reasonably priced products to the market, and also encourage people to take an active role in their own health and wellness. Jarrow Formulas has been in business for over 20 years and is considered an industry leader. Jarrow is incredibly active in consumers' rights to access dietary supplements and creating good quality manufacturing standards for our industry. When we first met Dr. Mincola, we knew that we had a true partner and an ally in the mission of creating a happy, healthy, and wealthy New England through the sharing of knowledge and enthusiasm for health and healing. And we're excited for the world of knowledge that there is that we can share with you all as we take this journey together with great partners, great energy, and looking forward to a great future for all of those that are encouraged to come along.
Attention home-related businesses. The 2008 Home and Garden Show presented by Balbonie's Landscape Supply will be at the Independence Mall in Kingston, April 4th through the 6th. This is the largest show of its kind on the South Shore. With your booth, you'll reach thousands of potential customers and additional mall traffic at this one-of-a-kind event. This year's show will focus on beautifying and simplifying the inside and outside of your home with a Going Green theme. Don't miss this extraordinary opportunity to display your the 2008 Home and Garden Show presented by Balbonie's Landscape Supply, Taylor Rental, Real Estate Options 153, Countrywide Mortgage, Bellegarde, Shiretown Glass, Community Newspapers, and 95.9 WATD. For more information on the Home and Garden Show 2008 at the Independence Mall, April 4th through the 6th, please visit cmrevents.com. That's cmrevents.com.
Alrighty, welcome back in. Of course, we've got Candida in-house visiting with us here for a few.
Yes, Mark's keeping me very busy because we have a wonderful presentation tomorrow night. I'm so excited. You're going to be presenting the phytonutrients.
Who's keeping who busy here?
I know, it's so true. But we invite everybody who's interested in coming. It's only $45 for a great seminar. It's a 2-hour seminar.
Tell them where it's going to be.
It's going to be at Uplifting Connections in Bridgewater, which is new for us.
Yep.
This is exciting.
I look forward to that presentation tomorrow evening in Bridgewater. They're great people down there.
Yeah.
And great enthusiasm from what I understand. Ellie says folks are just really jam-packed with enthusiasm about this presentation, so I'm psyched to get down there and meet everybody in Bridgewater. And it's really all about the food is medicine message, and we're going to be real specific about a lot of the current research regarding food elements such as these phytochemicals that are in foods that are the recent superstar discoveries in the world of nutrition, and we're going to talk about a lot of the research regarding these very powerful food chemicals and their ability to help the body heal and help the body reverse conditions such as heart disease and cancer and Alzheimer's, etc. Some great research from UCLA, etc. And the aging process, of course.
A lot of people are into that now.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, everybody wants to hold that clock, you know?
Yes.
So you had a busy weekend.
Yes, that was fun. We went over to the Cape Healing Arts, which is another sister magazine to Healthy Living. I call them sisters.
But it was a busy event yesterday. It was incredible. I went down just for a few hours yesterday, and Bernie Siegel was down there, and it was great to see the enthusiasm there. There were so many people that were really charged up about alternative medicine.
Yeah, it was great to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I was so glad I got you there too.
Oh, it was good to see what was going on, and I saw some old friends.
Yes.
Saw some folks that I've not seen in a long time, Olivia Miller, etc. So, when I last saw Olivia, she actually was working for the Cape Cod Times.
Really?
And she wrote a more magnificent newspaper article on my work, and this is going back to like 1985. And I hadn't seen her since then, so it was kind of a real gas to get together and see some folks that I've not seen in a long time. Great event, great job you did down there as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it seems like it's becoming more mainstream, which is our goal. And it's just exploding.
And
Dr. Ann has a nice seminar coming up too.
She does indeed. She does indeed. And once
you do
again,
a great job. I've been to a couple of yours as well.
For folks that once again are not aware of what's happening here, we're talking with Dr. Ann Doggett, and Dr. Ann is of course a chiropractor, 19 years of clinical experience in nutrition response testing, and she is the founder of Whole Body Solutions, Nutrition, Chiropractic, Acupuncture Work, and those offices are 605 Hancock Street in Quincy. I'll give you the number there, 617-328-6300, and March 19th at 7 p.m. She'll be at the Holiday Inn in Randolph, an encore presentation. Also, April 2nd. Again, these are Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m., both of these events. And it'll be focused on women's health, solutions to challenges unique to women from birth to menopause. These are going to be really very special events, and I encourage everybody to get out there, expand your wisdom, empower yourself, and remember, you are all remarkably gifted with information. We educate you and inspire you. You just, you're the folks that are going to make the big difference with regards to your health and your family's health. And this is a perfect occasion to really advance that wisdom. One thing we should mention, too, real quickly,
Sure.
Good Health Natural Foods is, of course, the flagship sponsor of this broadcast and all this great information that you all receive each and every Sunday night. And Good Health Natural Foods, of course, is not just a health food store. I'd say it's a resource center. You've got people that are genuinely interested in your knowledge, your well-being, and making sure your health care needs are met regarding preventive disease. Disease prevention, I should say. And I think the idea about Good Health Natural Foods being a resource center is they're there to provide you with information. If you ask the questions, you're going to get answers. And these folks really care to make a difference. These aren't people who are just showing up and punching the clock. They're people that are there to support and advance your information gathering in natural medicine. A lot of folks walk in health food stores and they're kind of confused.
A lot of people read magazines and get kind of confused
Absolutely.
as well. And the internet, too.
But it's a bit overwhelming for folks who are really trying to get the information together. They walk into the health food store, and they haven't got a clue of where to go, what to buy, how much to buy, how to take it.
Yep.
So I think that's what's, to me, is so special about Good Health Natural Foods, because you can go in there and have that bewilderment, and I think that they are just the folks to help resolve that conflict and help you kind of get yourself pointed in the right direction and know a little bit more about what's going on. And Good Health Natural Foods is located in two different towns. They're located on 219 Columbia Road. That's Route 53 in Hanover, 781-826-0808. And they're also located 1637 Hancock Street in Quincy, 617-773-4925. For all things natural, it is Good Health Natural Foods.
Excellent. And folks, when you're down there, you could also pick out the Healthy Living Spring Edition is out.
We forgot to mention that.
Yes, yep, it's out. And Mark has a wonderful article in there about spring detox.
Detoxification. Now is the time, absolutely.
So make sure you pick up your copy today.
So look for the mag out there, finally circulating, and you did a great job on it.
Thank
I know
you.
it's a little stressful that last week getting things to print, but
Thank God I have a lot of healers around me.
It helps,
It's
right?
Wonderful.
of course you got healers that are putting all this pressure on you. Wow, when's the magazine coming?
Actually, it's just myself. They're just excited.
Well, thanks so much.
Excellent.
And Candida, have a great evening.
Now, if folks want to register for Mark's seminar, they can call 781-834-2728, and we hope to see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, if you really want good, hardcore nutrition information and really learn how to make the best out of using food as medicine and food supplements as medicine, you definitely want to come down there tomorrow. Again, Candida will take care of business with you. 781-834-2728.
Yep, and we welcome you to bring a little recorder, because there is a lot of information.
And bring lots of friends.
And friends.
Have a great
Bye.
night.
Thanks. See you later.
Candida, we could make it together. The further from here, girl, the better. Where the air is fresh and clean.
All right, Larry is our holistic producer and engineer here this evening, making sure that all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, so he never misses a beat. All right, and Dr. M, we were talking just before break about the dilemma, if indeed it is a dilemma. At some level, it's certainly a dilemma. But ADD, ADHD, could you comment on the mystery of ADD and ADHD?
This is another one of our passions, by the way. And I was just at a seminar last weekend in Florida. And in Florida, they actually have a group called Citizens for Human Rights, where the group's focus is really educating parents on the issue of drugs in children. And I think you and I have discussed the increased diagnosis for ADD and ADHD, and the push systematically to medicate for things that may or may not actually be a syndrome. If in fact children do have challenges in behavior and attention, our experience is that diet and nutrition handles the vast majority of it. So this is another thing that we have to look at the drug industry and how they have grown just from the year 2000 to present. They've gone from a multi-million-dollar industry to a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Change the M to a B, folks.
And this is an American phenomenon, by the way.
Right.
This is not a worldwide phenomenon that we have these attention and focus diagnoses. And
absolutely true.
So we do have a passion about this. We some of it, as we know, is direct diet. We've had children and reports from parents where we find an offending food and we take it out of the diet and the nerve system relaxes and the teachers want to know what the parent has done. It's not always that simple. We hope that it is that simple. And other times they may have a stress from heavy metals, per se, right in the nerve system.
You know, I think the real key here is whenever somebody, I describe it like this too. I say that, you know, we have two nervous systems. We have an efficiency nervous system and we have an emergency nervous system. And whenever we're in an emergency nervous system, we're a little bit like a soldier who's being shot at. You know, the last time I checked, a soldier who's being shot at isn't going to memorize very well. It's not going to give you the attention because they're so distracted by what they think is chasing them. And I think so many of these kids have nervous systems that are programmed by, well, you just mentioned it earlier, 31% of the female population in America has been abused. Well, those are the females that are giving birth. Those are the females that are sisters of these children, and that are relatives of these children. They're in their world, and unfortunately, these children's nervous systems are really in a state of combat. And as we pointed out, these kids, for the most part, have memories just like we all do within their cells, within their nervous system, within their muscles. So that even if they witnessed abuse or sensed that abuse was happening to a sister, to a mother, and it was years ago, and this child is maybe 12 years old, and that abuse happened 7 years ago, somebody would be inclined perhaps to say, well, that was 7 years ago. What's the problem now? You know, that kind of trauma, that kind of abuse is long remembered within, as we pointed out, cells, nervous systems, muscles. I think there's an awful lot of understandable justification why children nowadays are perhaps a little less focused, a little less, nervous, a little less well managed in terms of their nervous system. Not to mention the fact that there have been some remarkable studies about brain synapses with video games and with constant movements that these children are visually exposed to nowadays. They're living in a very fast-paced, they're living in a very aggressive world, and I think their nervous systems, in a way, are a metaphor for the life that we're all living.
And we also know through research that exposure of the brain to an image that cannot be processed for the developmental age of the child actually gets stored in an area of the brain. So violence on your electronic games, violence on television, images on commercials, all these events actually are stored in the nervous system. And that, coupled with the lack of the good healthy fats, is an enormous piece of this issue, and we're talking now multiple generations. Right. So our experience is that many times these issues of attention, focus, mood, behavior, if we can evaluate effectively and design for the individual a program to address where their stress is, whether it's physical, chemical, emotional, and help the individual with some tools, both through a nutrition program. For instance, what if the child is normally active? can we get them out and moving before they have to go to school and sit for the day? I mean, it may be something that simple.
Right, to help them to express externally some of that internal energy. I remember, too, reading years ago, Dr. John Ott, O-T-T, who, remember Fantasia, the great Disney classic?
Yes, I do.
He is actually the researcher, the light researcher, who actually did all of the color and lighting for that spectacular film. And a brilliant man. But in his work, he actually was dedicated to using light for healing purposes. And back in 82 or 83, he was given a grant to go to Sarasota, Florida, and to try to work with the school system in Sarasota. It was one of the first school systems in the United States that actually began this broad spectrum, full-scale diagnosis of ADD, ADHD. So he went to Sarasota, was given a grant, and what he did right off the bat is through the entire school system, he had all the lighting taken out, and he had full-spectrum lighting put in all the classrooms. Then what he did is he put all the children on zinc and fish oil capsules, and after 1 year, based on the school's criteria, he remissed ADD and ADHD by 85%.
It's remarkable.
It is remarkable. Well, and I think the work that you're doing is remarkable. And once again, folks who might be considering getting themselves activated and getting over there on the 19th of March and the 2nd of April, both Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock at the Holiday Inn in Randolph, I would certainly encourage you to do so. Women's Health Solutions to challenges unique to women from birth to menopause. Now, the other thing we want to talk a little bit about here, too, is you've got these vials here this evening, and a lot of the nutrition response testing, you're going to do that on the nights of these presentations.
We do. We usually ask for a couple of volunteers from the audience so we can show how you would actually be tested if you came into the office, and to demonstrate what is very difficult to describe in words, the phenomenon
Go ahead now, come on.
the connection between the energy in the body and the neuromuscular system.
Right. So it's muscle testing, which a lot of people are familiar, more people are familiar with nowadays than ever before, thank God. But tell us a little bit about the testing that you're going to be doing with volunteers on the 19th of March and the 2nd of April at these events.
Well, we talked about the nervous system, and specifically the autonomic nervous system, and that soldier sort of fight-or-flight stress system, which we call the sympathetic nervous system. There are access points to the body that we can assess to determine if the nervous system is behaving appropriately. So we look at those areas, and if we find inappropriate neurologic response, we will then test to see if perhaps there's a heavy metal that might change the response to a
such as mercury or lead or beryllium or something like that.
Cadmium, arsenic. Then we might look at things like chemicals, pesticides, plastics. We've seen some very interesting things like dry cleaning fluids, chemicals, food preservatives.
Which folks hang around the body for indefinite periods of time.
They're stored in the fat cells. I know earlier we were talking about sugar getting converted and stored as fat. They've done studies which I find fascinating where they put people in barometric chambers, no exposure to the outside world at all, and they go through weight loss, and we detect pesticides in the bloodstream of these individuals as the fat cells break down and the chemicals stored in the body get released into the bloodstream.
Incredible.
We do know things are stored around. So we check for 14 different chemicals that are common. We see a lot of pesticide, plastics. We check for 16 different metals that are common. We mentioned a few. Mercury and aluminum are big. We then look at the issue of food intolerance. You could be having something in your diet every day that's aggravating your nervous system. It's not causing you an allergy where you need to have a shot of epinephrine, but manifestation of symptoms as they relate to foods that are not tolerated. And we look at 4 groups. We look at the grains, including wheat and gluten. We look at sugars, brown sugar, white sugar, fruit sugar, honey. We look at dairy products, cheese, milk, and we also look at eggs. So that's part of our food screening.
Great.
Then we take a look at immune system challenges, which may be chronic, things like viruses, bacteria, fungus, and parasites.
So the volunteers that are fortunate enough to come up front and work with you on the 19th and the 2nd, March 19th and April 2nd, will actually demonstrate the work that you do in your practice. So, folks, you're going to learn how Dr. Ann can actually test you for pesticide, plastics, toxic metals, food allergies, food intolerances, viruses, germs, bacteria, etc. So this is going to be really, really interesting for those of you who've never experienced it. It's really a remarkable process, and it's I think a very, very important way to help what I call the process of addition through subtraction, because it really is disturbing to me that so many people have so many problems that are not really understood with creative diagnostics and sensitive diagnostics. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is you are in a world where we simply add to the layers by giving you something else that's perhaps just as toxic and may have side effects, but we just want to make the pain, the hurt go away, which it may not do that efficiently. It may create 3 other problems, but nonetheless, the idea of layering over the problems is something I find disturbing. I like the idea of addition through subtraction, getting to the bottom of the problem creatively, sensitively, eliminating it so the body can get back to its own natural homeostasis. We're going to take a short little break, and we're going to be right back with Dr. Ann Doggett. Stay right where you are. This segment is being sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods. Good Health is a well-established organic specialty food market as well as a vitamin and sports nutrition shop. Good Health is a family-owned business passionately committed to giving back to the neighborhoods of Boston and the South Shore. The Maturos and the entire Good Health family continue to make an indelible impact on the communities they serve. There are currently 2 extraordinary stores, 1627 Hancock Street, Quincy, Mass., and 219 Columbia Road, Route 53 in Hanover, Mass. For everything natural, organic, and wheat or gluten-free, it's Good Health Natural Foods, open 7 days a week. In Quincy, 617-773-4925. And Hanover, 781-826-0808. That's Good Health Natural Foods.
WATD's Candida Mamet from Healthy Living Magazine presents the 7th annual LunaFest Film Festival. LunaFest is a national traveling festival of short films by, for, and about women. Each ticket sold raises money for Breast Cancer Fund and local nonprofit organizations. Join us Thursday, May 15th, 6 to 10 p.m. at the Duxbury Performing Arts Center. Tickets are $20 online, $25 at the door. To register, log on to healthylivingvideo.com or call 781-834-2728.
Alrighty, welcome again, and we've been speaking with Dr. Ann Doggett regarding her March 19th and April 2nd presentation at the Holiday Inn in Randolph, Women's Health Solutions to Challenges Unique to Women from Birth to Menopause. And anybody interested in attending these seminars, and please, if you're not presently considering getting involved and you have those evenings open, give it a second thought. I highly encourage you to do so. If you're ready to do that, you want to call this number, 617-328-6300. Easy number to remember, 617-328-6300. You want to reserve space right away. Don't waste your time thinking about it too long. Get involved. And, one important issue that I think we've not talked about that we probably should is the issue of menopause. That's certainly something you're going to be talking a lot about on the 19th and the 2nd, I'm sure.
Well, we know that all women's problems somehow begin with men, so menopause is just one of those. So we're going to have a good time looking at that.
I embrace the Tai Chi circle myself.
Because, it's a time that culturally used to bring women into a space where they were revered for their wisdom and for their lessons accumulated in life, and cultures would respect, and women felt like they entered a different space to look forward to. And the culture that we have at the moment, with our focus on external appearance and youth and vitality, and has put a little slant on that process from the emotional, spiritual aspect. And then, of course, we have those years accumulated chemical stress that don't help the matter.
So the way that menopause is currently understood by the average person and managed or mismanaged by the healthcare system, I'd like you to comment on that.
So we believe, first of all, that it's an abnormal symptomatic event as a common thought. And in fact, it's a natural process of evolution of the female system post-childbearing. So that's the first misconception that we have out there. Then, again, we have these nutritional imbalances that lead to very problematic symptoms. You know, the hot flash, just to begin with. We call them power surges, by the way. But,
that's great.
These hot flashes that... You know, if you're trying to get some sleep at night...
surges, I love that.
If you're trying to get some sleep at night and you can't get comfortable, you know, then you have all kinds of other issues.
Sure.
And, you know, we have foggy thinking and depression and breast changes and temperature regulation issues and body weight changes and the myriad of symptoms that are now accompanying a process that was once a normal evolution of the female body.
Right. Well, the whole concept of change is something that nature clearly expresses in virtually every area of its existence, including the human experience. But for some reason, the human mind in the United States of America these days has a really hard time with the idea of flow. It doesn't quite grasp that evolution is natural, and to kind of go with that flow with a smile on your face and joy in your heart is something that tends to elude us, I think, you know.
One thing we tell women that is quite a relief to some is that 10 extra pounds is actually the female body's friend through menopause, because your fat cells can actually produce some estrogen, and it's the withdrawal from that can create a lot of the symptoms that you have.
Fantastic. Well, and I think the other part of that too is that you know, there are, as you point out with nutrition, there are very viable, hardcore realities here that we need to be thinking about with regards to you know, bad estrogens, and a lot of women who are put through the rigors of hormone replacement therapy. And obviously we've learned so much about the negatives regarding hormone replacement therapy, and I think it's so important for women to know that there is a viable, peaceful, balanced, healthy set of solutions that they're going to learn about on the 19th of March and the 2nd of April.
I should mention that one of the keys for us in helping these symptoms has been through the use of quality herbal medicines and designed programs where you could look at potential helpers for menopause, things like black cohosh and wild jam, and not the creams, by the way. That's a bit of a scam that we'll talk about. But some of the traditional herbal medicines and some of the traditional minerals like iodine for your thyroid, for instance, and kidney support. And we can assess for the individual person in front of us what combination of things is going to help that person. And then we have a whole apothecary of liquid herbs that we import from Australia that are pharmaceutical grade medicines that are awful tasting, by the way, but very effective and in making the change to bring women the physical and emotional comforts through the process.
But I think it's really wonderful too that at Whole Body Solutions, you folks really have your own natural pharmacy right there.
We do. It's a wonderful thing. It's part of the reason that we expanded and moved our office to have greater space so that we could accommodate the housing of these products. And, you know, in Australia, the herbal industry is regulated by the government, so we know we're getting pure, safe, effective medicines, and we get to put them together in formulas that are unique for the individual female.
Fantastic stuff. And once again, that's March 19th, 7 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Randolph. And once again, Wednesday, April 2nd at 7 p.m., Women's Health Solutions to Challenges Unique to Women, Birth Through Menopause. That'll be Dr. Ann Doggett. Anybody interested in this great work she's doing in these great workshops, 617-328-6300. Once again, 617-328-6300. Dr. Ann, thank you so much for being here.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
Great to have you. And, of course, you're going to stay tuned, folks, to Tomorrow's Dreams with Bobby and Steve and the gang. And keep in mind, we have been podcasting this evening, so per usual, thanks to Adam Ing, we have a podcast available on our website at www.maxhealing.com. Of course, you can listen here on 95.9 FM, WATD, each and every Sunday at 8 o'clock. And until next Sunday at 8 o'clock, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well, make it a healthy week. Good night.